Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for your very nice presentation and for pronouncing my name perfectly. This conference, Madam Chair, is extremely timely for several reasons. Some of them are obvious, some less so. The most obvious reason, of course, which has already been highlighted in the annotation to your agenda, but are worth recalling, is that this is a year when government at the highest level are set to adopt at the summit next September a new sustainable development agenda. The process leading to the elaboration of this agenda has been truly remarkable and in many ways unprecedented, and so is the product. The contents of the agenda head of state will be called upon to commit to in September. Unlike the MDGs that were put on the table by UN officials, which I was one, as you recall, the SDGs that will constitute the core of the new agenda have been painstakingly negotiated one by one in these conference rooms over the past 2 years, with a degree of mobilization not only by governments but also by civil society that I have not witnessed myself before during my long association with the UN. But perhaps even more remarkable, and in my view especially instrumental in making possible this agreement on goals and target, is the political consensus that is underlining this negotiation, the consensus that the aim of this process should be an agenda that is truly transformational as well as truly universal, an agenda that commits equally developed as well as developing countries, combating poverty, ensuring that no one is left behind, preserving the planet, being battles that no single government, no single country, irrespective of GDP, can say to have won, and that we all must win unless the war is lost for all of us. The corollary of this approach is that an agenda of this kind could not be confined to setting goals for individual economic sectors, as the MDGs did. It had to encompass across sectors objectives to narrow inequalities, advance the rule of law and human rights, empower citizens, and strengthen institutions. But there is another less obvious sense in which this conference is absolutely timely, and it was recalled by the speaker from ITU. Let me say that if I have a criticism of the process so far, is that a great deal of attention has been given to the what, and not enough so far to the how. Later this month, the intergovernmental negotiation on the post-2015 agenda will address the all-important theme of means of implementation, finance, technology transfer, capacity building. And I do hope that also on the impulse of this conference, the key contribution that ICTs can make to the realization of the new agenda will receive then the special focus attention that it deserves. The role that ICTs can play as a crucial means of implementation is quite easy to see. But how to leverage this key potential across the board of the development spectrum is not as plain as it might appear. And this is so in spite of the fact that the main adjectives characterizing the new agenda that I mentioned a moment ago, transformational, universal, are also key characteristics of ICTs. It is indeed difficult to think of other factors that have more deeply affected, that are truly transforming communications and access to technology within and among society than advances in ICTs. And what other means, what other technological applications have the same potential for universal reach and indeed universal collaboration as the ICTs. And yet, the issue is not receiving, I think, the focus, international political attention that it deserves. The last major international occasion to do so was the 2005 World Summit on Information Society, a lifetime ago in this technology era, but I was glad to hear from the representative of ITU that this year, at the end of in December, there will be a review of them. Since the summit, of course, application in different economic sectors, health, education, food, have multiplied. And, but the basic match between ICTs and the great aspirations that are guiding the elaboration of the post-2015 development agenda remains to be made. There's still time to mix this match. However, I have referred to the forthcoming discussions on means of implementation. The heads of state in September will have is especially great, but still largely, in my view, unexplored at the political level. I know that my friends at Infopoverty have for some time put their mind and their efforts to this, but there are no clear signs of a renewed political mobilization in bringing ICTs at the service of sustainable development in the holistic sense that the new agenda demands, and I believe that this conference should not shy away from trying to exploit the timeliness of its calling and to serve not only as a technical source of advice, but also as a springboard for a renewed and, to me, essential political mobilization effort. I'm coming close to conclusion. Without wishing to overdo the comparison, there are, I believe, many commonalities between my area of work with now with the International Development Law Organization, IDLO, which is at the crossroad of the rule of law and development, and the issues before this conference. Not unlike ICTs, the law may be abused, it may be used as an instrument of oppression rather than of liberation. But if deliberately geared to serve the interest of people and of good governance, the law, like ICTs, can be a fundamental enabler of sustainable development, a fundamental source of fairness, inclusivity, and indeed empowerment in support of equitable shared progress. ICTs can be and have proved to be, but not in the systematic, purposeful way that I believe is both possible and necessary, a powerful enabler, perhaps one of the most powerful enablers of sustainable development across goals and targets, and indeed across borders, cultures, and tradition, a powerful force of inclusivity and of people's empowerment with a truly unique capacity to adapt and serve different systems and institutions without imposing a one-size-fits for all. There are ICTs applications that are apparently narrow and quite technical, but that can in fact have a major multiplier effect across the development spectrum. In conclusion, let me give two very quick concrete examples. One has to do with the applications of ICTs to permit free and timely access to legal data. Regardless of a country's development attainment, free access to legal information is fundamental. On a range of issues from fighting discrimination to protecting the rights of minority, and of course, especially crucial for the transformational impact that is being sought, ensuring women's empowerment in society. Legal empowerment through access to law can be key towards changing and sustainable patterns of consumption, fostering food security, and indeed access to public legal data can also encourage trade and foreign investments, foster private sector growth, and help mobilize domestic resources. In spite of these major implications, little attention has been paid so far to how legal information is communicated to the public by government. Whatever progress has taken place in this domain has almost entirely relied on the seminal work of non-governmental legal information institutes. Much more can be done and needs to be done with impacts that go much beyond any given SDGs. My second example relates to parliaments and their lawmaking and oversight functions by empowering legislatures to harness information and communication technology. This institution can achieve a greater level of transparency, openness, accountability, and effectiveness, while at the same time strengthening their ability to fulfill their constitutional functions. These are but two specific examples of the force that ICTs carry to advance progress. The post-2015 development agenda will provide a comprehensive framework of goals and political commitments that can synergize this force and give it an overarching, unifying purpose. Over the years, Infopoverty Conference have contributed precious insights into the range of possibilities that exist for ICTs to do good for humanity's progress. The time has now come, I believe, for this conference to build on these insights and become a platform for advocacy and political action to bring the full power of ICTs in support of the realization of the new Sustainable Development Agenda. Thank you, Madam Chair.